Hey, it's your contrarian soul guide, Dawn, and you're listening to Sovereignty Rising, the space where we unlearn the fear and reclaim the flame. Have you ever felt like you're right on the edge of everything you want, but instead of jumping, you clean your kitchen, you scroll Instagram, you suddenly decide it's a great time to color code your inbox? Yeah, I know that edge. I've lived on it. And here's what I've learned. It's not resistance. It's not laziness. It's not, oh, I must not be ready. It's your nervous system whispering. If you do this, if you really show up, something bad might happen. And that is sabotage. Not because you're broken, but because somewhere along the way, visibility stopped feeling safe. And today, we're going to break that down. Not with toxic positivity, not with hustle, but with truth, somatics, and soul. So let's talk fear. Let's talk safety, and let's talk about the sneaky ways your ego dresses up sabotage as self-care and how to flip the script starting today. Welcome to Sovereignty Rising. Ditch the fear, embrace your flame. I'm Dawn Elgin, contrarian soul guide, visionary mystic, and creatrix of practical spiritualism. And this is the space where we strip away the fear, burn the old stories down, and reclaim the power that was never truly lost, just buried. Here, we dive into raw, unfiltered conversations on emotional healing, spiritual awakening, and the art of unlearning everything that keeps you stuck, small, and disconnected from your truth. Together, we rise like phoenixes. Flame first, fear last. Let's rise together. So what is sabotage really? Sabotage is not self-hatred. It's self-protection. Your inner saboteur, what Carolyn Mace calls one of the core survival archetypes, isn't trying to ruin your life. She's trying to keep you from getting hurt. She's the part of you that remembers the sting of shame, the ache of exclusion, the trauma of being too much. She says, better not to launch than to fail. Better to shrink than to be seen and attacked. Better to hold back than be misunderstood. But here's the truth. Self-sabotage is how we cope when safety and visibility have never coexisted in our system. And that's not just mindset, that's energy and nervous system coding. Let's talk about what that looks like. Let me take you back to a moment I had started working with a new coach, Sarah Cannell, just last June. She is the creator of TLA, Thought Leader Academy, where she helps coaches, writers, and entrepreneurs become successful published authors and TEDx in-demand speakers. For years, I had felt the nudge to write a book, but had always put it off until later. Suddenly, everything fell into place for me to start working with her, and I understood now was the time. Sarah was just starting the third quarter. Sarah was just starting the third quarter of the year, and our topic was visibility. Now, I had pretty much disappeared from social media over the past several years. As a matter of fact, the further along my spiritual journey I went, the more I drew away from the public. I felt too vulnerable about my own experiences. Sarah's position? They have to know you're there to buy the book. I had just finished prepping the launch for my coaching program. The branding felt amazing, the content felt clear, and the offer was aligned. But something in me froze. I was stalling. I wasn't doing posts on social media. I was actually making a lot of excuses as to why I couldn't. And one day I was walking up the stairs. So we live in a 3-level house and our main living is on the second floor. Just give you that visual. So I'm walking up the stairs to the main level. My husband's in the kitchen. And as I'm walking up the stairs, I'm in my head making all of these excuses and these justifications as to why I can't possibly. Why I can't possibly be out in social media, why it's dangerous, why this isn't safe, why it's ridiculous. I had so many in there. And as I hit the landing, the second level, I heard this booming voice, and it said, "Are you going to abort your mission again?" Now, I've heard the voice before, and the last time I had heard it was in my second accident. And so I was pretty shaken. Now, I've got one guardian that is a yeller. And I think it's that he comes out when I'm digging my heels after I've asked over and over again for my purpose or clarity, and I'm just not accepting the answers. And probably, really, I'm getting close to ditching and running. So I'm walking up these stairs. I hear this loud, booming voice. "Are you going to abort your mission again?" And I turn and I look at my husband. He looks at me and I said, "Did you hear that?" And he goes, "No." Now, he's been with me since this crazy ride began, so probably not as shocked as many people would have been. So I pause, and again the voice says, "Are you going to abort your mission again?" And I cautiously say, "No." And then it says, "Then birth it into life now." And at that moment, I realized I had been making all of these excuses and been justifying why I wasn't going to show up. I wasn't going to follow the nudge. I wasn't going to follow through on my surrender experiment. And so at that moment, I realized the voices that I was hearing was the bullies of my past. It was voices of people who had told me I wasn't good enough, that I couldn't do these things. And at that moment, I realized I don't need to pull my power back from these people. All I needed to do was cut them off. And at that moment, I looked at my husband and I said, "It's time to get to work." I walked over to my laptop, opened it up, created a file for my book, opened up the file for Aligned Empowerment, my group coaching program, and I made a public post that I was looking for people to participate in the beta. And that really was the beginning of stepping into this path that I'd been given with the word sovereignty. I had so many reasons to shrink. Why? Because deep in my bones, I was afraid. Afraid that if I really showed up in my bigness, I would be rejected, ridiculed, persecuted, old wounds, ancient memories, past life echoes, the witch wound, the good girl trap, the who does she think she is narrative. The fear wasn't just in my mind, it was in my body, in my root, my solar plexus, my throat. My system didn't feel safe. And so sabotage kicked in. Not because I didn't want to believe in the work, but because somewhere inside, I didn't believe it was safe to be seen. And that's when I realized sabotage is just the soul asking for deeper safety. And it wasn't safety from out there, from out in the world. It was safety from me. Was I going to be there and have my own back? The moment I made that decision to cut off the energy supply that I was feeding back into my past, I had the energy and drive to be able to lean into the discomfort of being seen. Don't get me wrong, it's not a lack of fear at all. Of course, there's going to be some fear. We're trying something new. There's also excitement, anticipation, and lots of other emotions, some that I love and some not so much. But the more that we keep leaning in, the more that we recognize that the person we're waiting for is ourself, that's the moment when everything starts to shift. That's the moment when everything starts to heal. Yeah, it's great getting affirmations from other people and having people support us and having our back. But do you have your back? I promise you, I didn't have mine at the time. And over the course of my lifetime, I certainly had never learned how to have my back. As a matter of fact, I'd learned the opposite. So let's talk about the role of ego and the pain body. Sabotage isn't coming from your soul. It's coming from your ego trying to run the show. The ego has one job: survival. And that means sameness, predictability, and control. So when you begin to grow, expand, shift, or share, your ego panics and it says, let's go back to what we know. Let's edit that so we're not too much. Let's just wait until we're more ready. It's our amygdala, our little chicken little freaking out. The sky is falling. Sound familiar? This is what Eckhart Tolle calls the pain body, the energetic identity that feeds off of recycled pain and limitation. And when you say, I am anxious, I am overwhelmed, I am sabotaging myself, you fuse that with identity. You become the story. Your contrarian truth, you are not your sabotage. You are the witness of it. When you shift from I am to I notice, you step into your power. So let's talk chakras and energy medicine. Sabotage often appears when one or more of these centers are unbalanced. The root chakra is survival wound. It's not safe to exist this way. The solar plexus, the power wound. I don't trust myself to handle what comes. The throat chakra, the visibility wound. I can't speak this truth. Or the one that has really shown up for me over these past couple weeks. No one wants to hear what you have to say. Because the throat is not just your voice, but hearing. It's about communication. And the more you try to force forward momentum from an ungrounded space, the more sabotage will show up. You don't heal sabotage with strategy. You heal it with presence, embodiment, breath, nervous system regulation. Safety in your body creates freedom in your voice. So let's talk about the conversation with the saboteur. When sabotage flares up, instead of shaming it, I invite you to get curious. Ask, what are you afraid of happening if I do this? When did you first learn that shrinking was safer? What do you need to feel supported? And then listen, not with your mind, but with your heart. Feel into your body, because the saboteur is not your enemy. She's your sacred inner child, your protector, your sacred messenger. And when she's seen, loved, and led, she transforms. Sabotage becomes sovereignty when the soul takes lead. So, how do we integrate this and embody it? Well, here's a practice that you can use. So, we want to start by just dropping into the body, becoming aware of our feet, aware of our legs, aware of our hips, our back, our belly, our chest, aware of our shoulders, our arms, the palms of our hands, aware of your neck, your head, noticing your breath. Notice how your belly expands as you breathe in and how it gently retracts as you breathe out. And if it feels right to do so, I invite you to take one hand and place it on your heart and the other on your low abdomen, on that womb space. And identify the feeling. Ah, this is fear. This is contraction. Whatever it is that's showing up, just notice it. It wants to be seen. And then we're going to unhook from the story. This isn't who I am. This is a response. And then choose one aligned action. Tiny, brave, and real. You don't need to bulldoze your fear. You just need to stop letting it drive the bus. And as you do that, one moment, one breath, one choice at a time, you become the soul-led woman who no longer waits for permission to rise. I had that moment on the stairs. I could have aborted the mission. I had been asking for my purpose for years. And the interesting thing is it came in steps. It began with, you're supposed to be coaching. My coach, my spiritual director, was a constant. You're supposed to be coaching. You're supposed to be coaching. And it was just so hard for me to grasp the concept of turning my life upside down. I was good at what I was doing, even if I wasn't fulfilled. And then once I finally released that and started doing the coaching, then came the energy work. Then came meditation and yoga and all these little pieces, one step at a time, one step at a time. And that's the way it works. We won't be shown the whole story. We won't be shown the whole script. We get shown the next step. That's where our faith comes in. That's where our trust comes in when we choose to co-create with our most expanded self, with the universe. And it's rooting for us. There's no big guy up in the sky pissed off about the language that we use or whether or not we call it God or source or light. Sorry. What there is pure light, pure information, pure love. And this incredible desire to experience itself through our eyes. And so every single time that we come back to our truth and we just take that next step, I don't know where this is going, but I just feel like this is the next thing I need to do. And we just take it a little bit at a time, whether that's showing up and taking a course, whether that's shifting jobs, moving, whatever it is, only you know it's your journey and it's unique. This world needs you, and it needs you to show all the way up. You came here to do something, and every single one of us has value. It doesn't matter whether egoically it's considered big or small. What matters is that you came here to be who you were meant to be, not do what you were meant to do. I was meant to be. So if you're sabotaging something right now, just pause. Not to shame it, please, but to understand it. Get curious. Curiosity is a characteristic of our soul. Curiosity, compassion, connectedness, caring. And then ask, what feels unsafe about me rising? And then choose to meet fear with love, with embodiment, with your own presence. Because this is the work. This is sovereignty. This is healing. And if you're ready to walk that path with me, check out my website, practicalspiritualismco.com, where we have tons of free resources and let you know about when our next upcoming The Unlearning Bootcamp begins. We go deep, we go embodied, and we rise together. You are made for this, and you are not alone. Let yourself trust, let yourself feel, and let yourself rise. I see the light in you, and it is freaking brilliant. I so badly want you to see it too. You are not broken. You are not too much. You're remembering who you've always been, and this journey is just getting started. If today's episode lit something in you, hit follow so you don't miss what's coming. And if you're feeling it, leave a review. It helps with more soul-led women find this space. Want to go deeper? Come find me on YouTube, Facebook, our private Facebook community, The Awakening Circle, Instagram, TikTok, or at our website, practicalspiritualismco.com, for all the ways we can rise together. Not to worry, all those links are in our show notes. Until next time, stay sovereign, stay bold, and keep that fire lit.